Yeah. Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, all great Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Hare Krishna Prabhu is there. Hare Bol. Jai. Hare Krishna, nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Maharaj.
Jai, Jai, Hare Bol. Winter's here now. Winter's here.
David there.
We don't have so many people right now.
Yeah. Most probably they will join us within 15 minutes time.
So we will wait a couple more minutes, I guess. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
So, host, do you think we should start now?
Yeah. There's no volume.
All right, let's begin then. All right. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tanamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschajari Satarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We'll go to our invocational mantra. Om Jnana Tamarandasya.
Jnana-timirandasya.
Jnananjana Shalakaya.
Jnananjana Shalakaya.
Chakshurun Militanyena.
Chakshurumilitam yena.
Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
I was born in the darkest ignorance,
I was born in the darkest ignorance,
and my spiritual master opened my eyes
and my spiritual master opened my eyes
with the torch of knowledge.
with the torch of knowledge.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto him.
I offer my respectful
obeisance to him.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Oh, excuse me if I yawn. I know it's contagious. All right. Would our host please tell us what verse we're on today?
10:36. 10:36.
So 1036. Here we are. Jutam chalayatam asmi Tejas Tejasvitaspinam Mam Jayosmi Vyavasayosmi Sattvam Sattvavatam Aham. Translation. I am also the gambling of cheats, and of the splendid, I am the splendor. I am victory, I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong. Got it. We would like a volunteer to read the first paragraph, and then we'll ask for a second person to read the second paragraph. Hare Krishna.
Kirti, please go.
Sure, Mataji, I can read the first paragraph. There are many kinds of cheaters all over the universe. Of all cheating processes, gambling stands supreme and therefore represents Krishna. As the Supreme, Krishna can be more deceitful than any mere man. If Krishna chooses to deceive a person, no one can surpass him in his deceit. His greatness is not simply one-sided; it is all-sided. Should I continue?
No, we were asking for a second person to read that, please.
Adhikata Prabhu. Adhikata Prabhu.
All right. Among the victorious, he is the victory. He is the splendor of all splendid. Among the enterprising and industry, he is the most enterprising, the most industrious. Among adventurers, he is the most adventurous, and among the strong, he is the strongest. When Krishna was present on earth, no one could surpass him in strength. Even in his childhood, he lifted Govardhan Hill. No one can surpass him in cheating. No one can surpass him in splendor. No one can surpass him in victory. No one can surpass him in enterprise. No one can surpass him in strength.
All right, thank you so much for the readers. And so now we'll continue with our little exploration of what it means to look at the opulence of the Absolute. All the items that are mentioned here are elements of opulence. And so that might be a little bit chilling to look at when we're talking about cheating, gambling. I am the gambling of cheats. How can we put that into a certain perspective? Well, the big gambling story that we know about is in the Mahabharata, when Yudhishthira, was the dice roller on behalf of the Pandavas. He never was very good at it. He just had a reputation for not being good, but he got caught into the trap of playing the game. And he was supposed to be pitted against Duryodhana, but Duryodhana made an arrangement that Shakuni, who was a wizard at the game, would play on his behalf. That wasn't discussed before, it wasn't known. So there was a little bit of cheating right then and there in terms of what would be a clean gambling match. But anyways, is anything clean when it comes to gambling? It's something that the Kshatriyas did do. Brahmins you wouldn't catch a Brahmin red-handed doing some gambling unless if he had, he was just like not a Brahmin, what to speak of a Vaishnava doing these things. But the gambling did go on, and somehow or other it was meant to be part of Krishna's plan, which makes it really interesting. And can anybody think of a reason why Krishna would like this game to go on? Why it was in one way blessed, and why it was that even Bhishma and Drona didn't say anything about how it was not a good game. Does anybody have some idea about that? This becomes a real topic of debate. It can be, trying to explore this idea. Yeah,
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I think because
Yes.
Krishna wants us to try to depend on him no matter what the situation, no matter how good it seems or how best the outcome seems or the odds, the best outcome is believing in Krishna, period. So no matter what thing is promised, you can't get no better promise than, being conscious of Krishna and his opulence.
Mhm. Good, good. Well, very good. I like that. Good. Does anybody else have anything to offer in regards to this?
Maharaj,
Yes.
Krishna knew the future of the Kurukshetra war and the opportunity to speak Bhagavad Gita. So
Anandashish, could you speak up a little bit? Like,
yeah, I think
with all
Krishna knew what was going to happen about the Kurukshetra war and
yes.
the opportunity to speak Bhagavad Gita. So he just let it happen, just
Mhm.
let the whole thing unfold.
Good, good. Well, yeah, these are good thoughts. These are good thoughts. Thank you, Baruch. Anybody else have anything that they might like to share in terms of how to comprehend this situation of the gambling going on, the Lord sanctioning it?
Krishna doesn't interfere with our free will.
Oh, you'll have to speak up there, Vaishnavi.
Krishna doesn't interfere with our free will.
He doesn't interfere with our free will. Okay. So how does free will come into the picture here?
He let what Duryodhan wanted to do, as well as how Yudhishthir wanted to respond to it.
Mhm. Well, I would like to make a comparison. It's just something that came to my head here. If you all recall, in the Bhagavatam, we hear the story of the churning of the ocean of milk and how the demigods were defeated by the asuras. The asuras were usually more self-centered than the demigods. And it looked like they had been cheated of their positions. Even Indra lost his seat, and it went to Bali Maharaj and his companions. So what happened was the demigods were now in a situation where they had to depend on the Lord. That's something that Adikarta was trying to say. And this is exactly what the Pandavas had to do against. In their case, they were, okay, we're in a distressful situation. We must
You
depend.
put the problem.
So what's that noise? Okay. Someone will have to cut off their or mute themselves. So it was Vishnu who came and made some suggestions. Make a truce with these asuras, these demons, and I'll be with you. I'll come and appear when you need me the most. So the agreement was, okay, listen, there is a real incredible vat of Amrit, down at the bottom of the ocean. This Amrit is like a drink that you take and it'll make you practically immortal, live longer than you already will be. So everybody just wanted that, a tonic that would make them live long and have a good life, a good, fun life. So everyone was working hard towards that. And before they went ahead with what we call the churning of the ocean of milk, Vishnu gave them a message. And it says, whatever these asuras want, give them what they want. Just kind of like suck it up, as we say. Suck it up, give them what they want, let the spoiled brats have what they want, but I guarantee you'll come out victorious in the end. So this is exactly what happened. It was a little bit like a gamble, what they were involved in, churning, looking for something that was kind of materialistic, but it was Vishnu who appeared, and Vishnu actually changed his gender for a little bit and became Mohini Murti, just to be on the side and help the demigods regain their position and power. Anyways, with this gambling match, a similar kind of thing. Krishna was allowing everything to play out to the point where Draupadi was a little bit embarrassed, but she wasn't. Krishna made sure she would not be exposed and humiliated. He supplied unlimited cloth. So the story plays out in such a way that Krishna comes to be very heroic. And as far as Bhishma and Drona are concerned, they didn't stand up and protest against the gambling and unfairness, and knowing that the dice were kind of rigged, and that Shakuni was a master of the game, that it was an unfair, it wasn't let's say even match. All those things went on so that in the end, the Pandavas would lose out. Yes, they did lose, they became humiliated, but they spent some quality years in the forest, in exile. And during that time, while in exile, they became very, very strong. They did not diminish. So what brings to mind is Nelson Mandela, who was in prison, and while he was there, you'd think he'd deteriorate, but in many ways, he just became kind of like it was like coal being crushed to become diamonds. So the gambling is one of the major features of the Mahabharata, and it went on somehow or other with Krishna's sanction, so that in the end, in the long run, it's not so much what happens in the middle or in the beginning. What is the end result? End result, there was victory for the Pandavas. So it's a drama. Krishna wants an interesting story. He wants us to be absorbed in the Leela of what it means for when the Lord steps up to help the devotees, And so it is a very interesting story. It's not just, it's quite complicated. How is it that the Pandavas lost themselves in gambling, and then Draupadi was thrown in at the end? It all becomes so kind of exciting. And we wonder, how is this? And then Krishna turns everything around, and the Pandavas come out favorable, but only after a number of years. So if we have any problems, and we sometimes feel maybe a little cheated, well, I'm a devotee, I've been chanting 16 rounds. Why is my life so miserable? Why am I getting COVID? Why am I getting cancer? Why are my kids not doing well in school, or whatever it is? Devotees, well, I'm a devotee, I'm doing good, I'm doing everything my guru asked me to do, what Prabhupada wants me to do, and still somehow or other I've been sort of just tossed to the side, So Krishna has a plan, that's the thing, and look at the term adventure. We should be relishing the adventure of life. We don't know how things are going to turn. They really just curve and into our favor. And you just have to watch the play, the drama, roll out, but everything's a drama for Krishna. Everything's got to be a good story, so that there will be suspense. There will be emotions. We'll say, we'll be rooting for someone. There will be, it's not like you become a stone and you have no feelings. We are sentient beings. So there's going to be highs and lows in life, and you should just enjoy the adventure. And, as was indicated, have your mind fixated on Krishna. Hare Krishna. Anybody like to say anything else about this?
Maharaj.
Yes. I heard a voice. I didn't.
Yeah, it's a rascal from Calgary.
Oh, Calgary Cowboy. Okay, yes. Go ahead.
Talking about cheaters, and I'm one of the most prominent cheaters, not as great as Krishna, but anyway. There's another episode of cheating in the Mahabharata, which is hard to comprehend. When that formation, they cheated Abhimanyu to enter into that, and nothing is happening without Krishna's sanction. Now, how he allowed that to happen, that his own nephew, Subhadra's son, he was massacred by those.
Yes, that's true. you bring up a point where the Kauravas lost their sense of following military codes. So this young man was able to penetrate through the vyuha. Vyuha means battle formation. He, when he was in the womb of his mother, he had heard about how you could penetrate. What are the mantras? What are the moves you make? So he got in the circle. And while he was there, he fought valiantly. But, you know, there was unfairness in the sense that when he lost his weapon, they all came bludgeoning towards him and mercilessly killed him. Yes, it was terrible. It was not nice at all. His father, however, Arjuna, reacted, and he blamed one particular person, Jayadratha, for this, for being the final person to blow on him. And because of Arjuna's vengeful nature, the Pandavas came out to have some very good days ahead. So it's another sad story, tragedy. Abhimanyu's story is tragic. Karna's story is tragic, and we wonder why it goes on. But there's some happy endings. And let's face it, there's going to be, when you're in this world, there's going to be some losses. You know, there's. Okay, somebody's. You know what? I might have. We're doing a yagya in a minute or so. I'm going to have to take a station break. Please chant Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Adhikata Prabhu, please chant. Unmute yourself and chant, please.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Okay,
Hare
back
Krishna.
again. All right. Thank you very much for chanting. So go to Chandraprabhu and all the Vaishnavas. Okay, so definitely some cheating went on in this affair to do with Abhimanyu, whom everyone feels very bad about. And even there was great regret on the part of the Kauravas who had slain him unjustly. From that point on, there was a turning point in the battle. And because the Kauravas acted so, let's say, inappropriately and acting against the laws or the codes of Dharma. Therefore, you know, all you can say all hell broke loose. It's part of the drama. And it was Arjuna who especially got fired up in this instance, in this drama. Yeah. And it led to some victories on the part of the Pandavas. So I think that those two discussions about the gambling match, the cheating that also went on in the terms of this young man having to face a whole army unarmed. These are really high points of discussion and where our emotions flare up a lot, you know, and that's why Prabhupada indicated, get absorbed in these stories, you know, in the end, it's all about Krishna. So that's a little bit about that. Let's go to the next phrase. I'm the splendid of the splendid, I'm the splendor. Does anybody have thoughts about that? What is splendorous to you? Splendor is something that's wondrous, isn't it? I just give an example. Once in a while we go to Niagara Falls. It's just an hour and a half from here. I guess from those who are from Cleveland, it's probably about 5.5 hours for you guys. And when you go to the falls, you'll see people from all over the world come there, and they'll stand by the falls, and they get meditative, they get prayerful, they say names of God, and because it's such a splendorous position to be in. And that's what I kind of relate to. Yesterday I was at a waterfalls in it's called Inglis Falls, and it's in the town Owen Sound, and it's also very beautiful. I sent it on the Instagram this morning, and it's beautiful water, playing over the rocks, and you can't help but think of Krishna when you see these things. So, but even though it's splendorous, it's just a spark of my splendor. Just a spark. That's what Krishna says about his opulences. Whatever is identified here as an opulence, he says, any one of these items, it's just a spark of my splendor. That's all. It's just a little like a spark that falls out of the big, firebrand, and that's how we can appreciate whenever we something of wonder in this world, like if you see the Grand Canyon or something like that, anything about nature, it's you see this is the hand of God, isn't it? So it's a good idea to just break away from the concrete jungle once in a while and walk through nature and see the splendor. Go ahead.
Have you ever
Yes.
been down? Have you ever been out on the boat ride, the Maid of the Mist, and go through it? Go through the falls?
Well, to be honest with you, never.
Why do you have to do it? You have to do it. Listen, I took my kids and my wife, like once the baby got 2, because she didn't want to do it till they got 2. I was like, why? Something bad happened? She gonna say, yeah, something. He can swim at least. And it was the most beautiful thing that you could ever see, to see all the falls from inside of
behind. Wow. Well, I think that we should arrange a trip, our little Gita group, and just have a retreat and go see the falls, and plan some other visits along the way. Yeah, why not?
Hey, look, well, Maharaj, on your side the boats are red, and on our side the boats are blue. So we have to find somewhere to meet in the middle.
Okay. All right. Yes. Unless you come to the Canadian side. All right. Sure. Good. Anything else about splendorous things? Okay. Then let's go to victory.
Oh, wait,
Yeah,
Maharaj,
yes.
I was going to say, I'm sorry. I was going to say, if you ever, now these are for the grihastas. If you ever witnessed a child being born, that's the most wonderful thing I've ever seen. I mean, you see a lot of what's going on about life. It's when it comes down to the top 10 things, you can't put to words. A child being born is something that you can't really.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
it's like magic, God, it's everything all in one.
Wow.
You have to be there.
Well, I was there once. I was born actually. I just don't remember it though. I just don't remember. Yeah, good. Well, I thank you for saying that. That's words coming from a parent, and most of you are married folks and you had that experience, and Arjun's gonna be there one day, right? I mean, our Arjun, right? He'll be there one day. All right. Good. Yes.
My personal something that I find very splendor is the color that you wear, the saffron robes. As Prabhupada said, this is the color of the people that they don't belong to the material world anymore. I found that splendor. Thank you.
You're always too much nice. All right. Well, it is a great color. And certainly I didn't invent it. It was not my doing. Yes. Good. So I think let's go to the next word there, unless if somebody has anything else to say. Anything else? I remember when I was a teenager, I was torn by one film that came out. Love is a many splendored thing, and I was thinking about the word splendor. It's a beautiful American story about a couple that just were totally like lovesick for each other. And the one girl, she was so caught up in the love sickness that she actually went a little bit mental, and she had to spend some time in the mental hospital facility. It's a beautiful story, really nice. It's very kind of real down to earth stuff. And then years after coming out, she kind of made a male friend in the hospital who had the same kind of issues, and then she just wanted to put a closure to her life. And so she went back to see her beau from before, who is now a farmer, and he's married and he has a child and the wife is pregnant. And, of course she was very happy for him and he was very happy for her, but that was the end of it. I think the end of the last scene is she drives off, she looks back in the rearview mirror and just see that's it. That's her former lover gone, no part of her life anymore. And they kind of put an end to her, her dreams about, which are somewhat superficial in the world. Beautiful story. So love is a many splendid thing, splendorous. I am victory, Krishna says. And so let us look at this word because it's significant. It's an opulence here. And it also appears in the very last verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Please flip over to 1878. 1878, okay? And we're going to look at that, and we're going to look at the Sanskrit as well. First, I'd like you to look at the English, and let's be reminded of what really is important and relevant in our lives. So here it reads. Maybe somebody else could read it, nice and slow and careful. Give us the last word. Somebody who hasn't had a chance to read yet today.
Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is
Jai. That is my opinion. Yes. And Krishna's opinion is important. Isn't that right? So the word Vijaya means victory. The same word that we're looking at here in chapter 10. It says, I am victory. Let us also look at the word previous to that, Shri. Shri means opulence. And then there's also Buddhi. Buddhi means exceptional power. So you have some of those terms that are used here only for the word strength. It's sattvam vatam, of the strength I am the strong. But the same idea though. Okay, so just take note of these similar messages that are here. These are hopeful verses, and we're left with 78, chapter 18 as something to really reflect on. Just remember Krishna, remember Arjuna, remember their dialogue between each other, and you will be successful. You will have all these things. You will have morality. You will be a moral character if you constantly go over this dialogue. You will have power. You'll feel empowered. Let's put it that way. You will feel victorious. And there will be opulence. In other words, your life will be taken care of. You'll have lots of prasad. So I just thought it was very significant. I am victory. Now, so let's look at the word Vyavasaya, which means to be adventurous. This is what sometimes we do very much in our youthfulness. Okay, let's go back before we're adolescents. For a child, everything is an adventure, is it not? Every different color, yellow against red, against blue, against green, against purple, big things. Usually a baby is one who likes to try everything on the Annamaya platform. Maya means it's a level of illusion, and Anna means food. So for them, they'll put everything into their mouth. That's one of the things that you really have to watch when you're a parent, right? Watch what goes through the mouth for the baby, because everything is something that identifies, maybe this is something possibly I could eat. So for a child, there's adventure and, exploring new things in the outdoors. Of course, nowadays, it's got a lot more to do with devices. What's this new thing that I can find? What's a new story? What's a new game? Always full of adventure when it comes to puberty, when it comes to teenage, adolescent phase in life. There's a new adventure, the hormonal explosion. And then you enter into new phase after being somewhat sufficiently educated, hopefully, having learned something. Now you enter into the big bad world, and that's also another adventure. What can I do that's enterprising? What is it that I can do that's industrious? And can I build an empire? Can I make lots of money? Can I get recognition? And all those things will be there in your adventure. I get excited about just finding a new trail and what's around the corner on a new trail. What is there to be found around the mountain, on the other side of the hill? And I find it's all very adventurous. For those who love animals and look at the different species of life that we call the animal kingdom, that's also super exciting. One of the most exciting places is in the ocean. I don't know if anybody's done any deep sea diving or snorkeling or something like that. Like a coral reef, you'll see all kinds of splendorous aquatics, and it leaves you in awe. Just make sure you don't go awe when you're there. Make sure your mouth is covered. But there is some adventure there. There's no doubt. And what? May I ask you all a question? What does that do for you when you see something that's awesome? What does it do for you? Like, say, even spiritually, what does it do anything for you? How do you respond?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Haribo, Arjun, tell us.
Okay, so I went when I was like, I think I was 15. My sister took us like deep sea diving, well, scuba diving, and you had a banana in your hands and the fish come and eat it, and you can almost touch them, and then you feel so great because you're like, wow, the fish, they're right in your hands. Instead of people eating them, they can just come and you serve them a little banana, and then you see so many things that you can't really see when you're down there. You feel great. You feel amazing. It's a really nice feeling.
Did the banana have a peel on it?
No.
Okay.
I don't think they'll be able to take the peel off.
Okay, good. Well, thank you. You made us smile. You made us smile just that. I can picture it. It's made you feel real good. You were giving and they were reciprocating so well. For anybody else on this call, what does it make you do when you see something that's splendorous, like say the Grand Canyon, or you see one of the bigger mountains? What does it do for you?
For me, when I see a splendor, it makes me kind of feel very insignificant because
Insignificant, yes.
yeah, a little, it's a experience to be humble.
Right, yes. It is about feeling insignificant, and it's humbling. So it's it's good. It's enlightening to be part of adventure. Yes, and go to Chandra. You want to also offer something, right?
Yeah, it's a similar thing, that how unlimited Krishna must be, because this planet is just a dot in the universe.
Yes.
And so the whole universe is a dot on the face of Krishna, maybe. And so how tiny we are.
Yes. Yes. Again, that feeling of insignificance and how great is Krishna. Yes. Yes. You know, this is what I find when you do some time adventurous things. What about the adventure of getting to some kind of business enterprise? That can be kind of exhilarating. It can also be quite devastating. Of course, anything in this world can be. You know, but the prospect of gaining a big following, for instance, it's all part of the adventure of life. But I would, you know, I would encourage everyone to, you know, to explore Krishna consciousness as deeply as you can. That should be the most, let's say, brave adventure of all. Explore things, you know, especially in the area of service. You know, see what it's like. And somebody was saying, you just feel good, you know, when the fish come and eat the banana. I think that's a good analogy. Anytime you do some service for someone, you should feel like Arjun, where the fish are going after the banana, you know, and relishing it like anything. Yeah. There is a lot of adventure in service, you know, tremendous. Again, some people might calculate it as boring. It's not very interesting. It's very flat. But no, service brings out the best in people. You know, their hearts of gold sort of almost come out of the person's chest when you do some nice service for others. You know, and I think if we see those of you who are in the workforce, or you know, that you're doing whatever you can for your livelihood, you'll know that it can be quite a drain. Well, to make it a little bit more light than you would than when you experience it, then I would see it as an adventure. Oh, what is it that I can do at work today that will give me some attention, and what is it that I can do to in my interaction with others that will make my day so much more lofty than it will, let's say, weighty. Yeah, weighty. Yeah. Good. Anything else about adventure? Wasn't Krishna adventurous? Didn't he go out every day and it was like a new monster in front of him and said, how am I going to tackle this one? You know, and wasn't it a big adventure for him to go out, you know, or I should say not was, but in the present tense, to be out there in the field, in the pasture, and meet with all kinds of challenges. So on the spiritual journey, it should be a lot of fun. And I would like to end up by saying, before anybody else wishes to open up, that the Sankirtan program of traveling around, or let's say if you're grounded in one place, let's say conjuring up new ways to share Krishna consciousness. It's such an adventure, and anybody who goes on traveling Sankirtan for books, for prasadam, or is on a tour for Bhakti Shakti, fests, they'll know that it's all quite a big adventure, and especially in the way that people respond. It's so much fun. As we mentioned before, we should not be fanatics. We should be fun addicts, addicted to the fun of serving Krishna. Yeah. So when you hear that God is blue, sometimes God is green, sometimes God is golden, sometimes God is white, etc., and just goes on. And wow, there's something kind of marvelous about that. The adventure of imagining yourself being, a coward boy and being there when Krishna lifts the hill, or when they're, walking into the Agasura mouth. It's all one big adventure. They just always have a blast. So I would say, have your bhakti blast every day. And for that, to achieve that, you have to have a fresh outlook on your approach to service every day. It's not that we have an attitude, oh, I've done this mantra, it's the same one again. No, you really have to invoke a fresh approach every day to chanting and to serving. And when you do that, then you will fall into the category of being a Mahatma. Yeah. Satatan kiratiyam tomam yatantascha dhrijavrata. One who is always engaged in service and with great determination. So many great fringe benefits come from that. So that's adventure. Anybody else want to talk about adventure a little bit?
I think, Maharaj, I think the best adventure is it's like going out distributing books, because everybody has like a different way of doing it. And it's like whenever I even go out, like, because people always ask me, they're like, oh, so when do you go out and distribute books? I'm like, I don't know. The book just finds people. I kind of like go out for a walk, and it's like somebody will be walking past, they'll say something, or they'll look at me. You kind of just like look at the tilak, or some people, they'll just kind of like stare at you for a little bit, and you just like kind of wave, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden it starts. And for me, it's always like when I start talking to somebody, I start to remember how I came into association with Krishna consciousness. You know what I mean? Like this, like this book that was given to me, changed my outlook on life for the rest of my life. It helped complete some of the things and questions that you have as you grow, as being a child to a teenager to an adult to the latter years of life, where you start to wonder, hey, what's next for me? For example, when people now ask me, aren't you afraid of death? I'm like, no. Everybody that's Krishna conscious is afraid of losing Krishna's association. No, you're not afraid of death. Death is the next level. We're looking at it as another adventure, but it's just the fear of losing Krishna's association that I feel is, the only thing that I ever worry about, and probably other Vaishnavas worry about. So, like I said, just distributing the book, having the enthusiasm to go out and say, all right, I'm going to go share how I feel with somebody else in the world. Let's see how this goes.
Yes, I know what you're saying on this topic. And, even I get quite a buzz from just doing some Harinam on the street, and like sitting on the grass in a circle with committed kirtaniyas, and just watching people walking by and reacting, and sometimes just stopping dead on their tracks and being so drawn in, and it's just fun to see the reactions. Of course, some people are very averse to it. They don't want to hear anything that's spiritual or religious, but for the most part, people are just kind of, they nod, they like it. Especially, it's got to sound nice, you got to look good, and you got to sound good, right? And those are two important features for outdoor Sankirtan. Yeah. And you don't want to be a nuisance. That's the term that was used by some of the media people in Australia. I think it was Sydney, says Hare Krishna's nuisance. And then there was some people didn't understand this, that there was a case where someone got rescued in a fire, and it was a devotee that saved that person or persons. And then that got in the news, and everybody thought we were kind of like heroes overnight. Yeah. So if you want to experience adventure, really try those books in public places. Go out in Harinam. I know Gauri Chandra loves to do Harinam in Calgary on the street by the Bow River, right? And it's just fun to see how people respond so nicely. Yeah. And I know Dharma and Manasi Ganga, who are on board with us, they distribute a lot of books, isn't it, Dharma?
Yeah, Hare
Isn't
Krishna.
it?
Yes, Maharaj. Yes, what yeah, we try to do as much we can. Again, it depends on Krishna's mercy, Prabhupada's mercy. We leave it to him. So
Yes. Well,
sometimes
when you do those kind of things with Sankirtan nature, that or even prasad, you really experience adventure, and you can also see how Krishna is working, through the hearts of others, and it's really quite an amazing experience,
what
Good.
it makes me feel is makes me humble when you go out.
Oh, yes, yeah. I think that's a big part of adventure. Sometimes adventures looking at something that's just so much greater than yourself.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied, mind, Maharaj.
What's that? It's very satisfying. Isn't it?
So we went for Kartik program, home program.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't even know some of the people, but they're very nice when they start listening to Kirtan. And well, they don't know what we are planning to do. When we start explaining them stories of Krishna, they laugh,
Right.
And they after we come out, they come back and tell us it was a very peaceful night we had.
So come again next year.
Yeah, that's what they say. They love it actually.
Yes. Good. Well, we encourage everyone to do some kind of Sankirtan. And it's big all over North America, well, all over the world, really. We have a chance to get some books out there. And maybe I'm going to suggest, I know that Brampton and Mississauga devotees are very active. I think in Florida you are. And, we've got Cleveland devotees can probably really step up and have a good year, to distribute Prabhupada's books, especially during the Christmas time. Let's go to the last item here, and then I'll have to drop off 5 minutes early. So I'm the strength of the strong. We would like to hear comments about that. Does it, just in general, when somebody's very strong, it puts somebody in awe. I think that these old circus, outfits that used to travel around, they had a bearded lady and they had a strong man. That was always, they had lots of animals, and it was a fascination for someone to see someone who was very strong, who could perform amazing feats beyond what the average person could do. So Krishna is that strong person. Prabhupada specifically mentions, even while he was a child, he lifted Govardhan Hill. Yes, he did that amazing feat. Okay, anything about strength?
Yes, Maharaj,
Yes.
I think that the most amazing strength is when a man can say no to a woman. That's the most amazing strength on this planet, all over the planet, all over the universe. All glory to the sannyasis.
Oh, okay. I thought it was kind of a joke. But yes, that is a kind of strength. Yeah, strength of character and strength, being able to withhold your senses, disciplining yourself. There's a strength that goes along with that. And every devotee, thank you for bringing up Gaura Chandra. Every devotee here, we know we've made certain commitments, especially at Diksha time, that I am going to promise to follow this and follow that. And it takes strength to do it, but it makes you even more stronger by having that, applying that willpower. Yeah, it takes great determination to be strong, and but it actually expands and exponentially grows in terms of even greater strength comes about. So the biggest strength we can have is determination in many ways. Somebody will ask Prabhupada, or they did, Prabhupada, Maya is very strong, because we're talking about strength, right? Maya is very strong. And Prabhupada, counter-argued it. And he said, no, it's not that Maya is strong, it's that your determination is weak. So if you make your determination strong, then you will be strong. Okay, so another verse that you might like to look at from the Gita, Daivi Shigunamahi, Mama Maya Duratyaya, Mam Evi Prapadyante, Mayang Etam Tarantite. Does anybody remember the verse? And because it's a good one. Okay. Somebody can find it in the index. Daivi Shigunamayi. I should know this offhand. Daivi Shigunamayi. So that's in chapter 7. Please look at 7:14. Which is called knowledge of the absolute. We're looking at this chapter, opulence of the absolute. Now it's knowledge of the absolute. Would anybody like to go to that verse and you can recite it for us, please?
It's on the screen, Maharaj.
Okay, great. Would like someone who didn't have a chance to speak yet, please give us the Sanskrit, okay? And then the English.
I can do that. Daivihi Shagunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Mam Evaye Prapadyante Mayamitam Tarantite. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it.
Beautiful. So what the shloka is actually saying is that the material energy is divine because it's coming from the Lord. So it's powerful. Nature is powerful, right? But if we take to the surrendering process, we can actually deal with that powerful material nature. But without it, you have no strength. You have very little strength. So to get strength, you have to challenge the strong. But in order to challenge it and feel the confidence that's required, you basically have to build up your strength. And that comes from good, solid sadhana. You know? And then it's possible. So I would beg you all to look at 7:14 this week and try to memorize it if you can. And also reflect a little bit on 1878, the last verse from the Bhagavad Gita. Good. So I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. And we'll see you next week. And please give some strong consideration to participating in your local marathon for the Prabhupada Marathon. Please think about doing that and get involved. Do kirtan, do maybe prasadam would be great. And, you know, have some books available that you can distribute. All right?
Yes, Maharaj.
Put out a little extra time there. Specifically asking Cleveland. Go for it, Cleveland. Go for it.
Sure, Maharaj. We'll do that.
All right.
Report.
Hare Krishna. So thank you very much. It's always a pleasure. Pancha kalpatirubhyascha vipasandhyacha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna, everyone.